Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by PlayPicks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy, Nate Weitzer, holding it down on the East Coast. And we are moving along on this big, nice Wednesday night slate here, Nate. Going to be taking a look at those Celtics and the Hawks. Bunch of players out for the Hawks right now. Hate to see it, but some things we can take advantage of there for sure. Make sure you check out Nate's article up on playpicks.com. Got those best bets and player props in there for you, and like and subscribe to that page. So we've got a couple other videos for you today, including that player props that we enjoy throwing out there each week. And we're looking at Bulls Blazers in that other video as well. But as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we're getting into now. Nate, let's get into those lines.
Yeah, the Celtics are plus 4.5 at Atlanta. The total right now at 215.5 and holding pretty steady. We haven't seen much movement from either of those numbers so far. Celtics will still be without Jaylen Brown, and the Hawks just lost DeAndre Hunter to yet another multi-month injury. Sad news there. Looking at the other games across the association tonight, Pacers are -6 at Pistons. Wizards +1 at Hornets. Welcome back, Bradley Beal. Pelicans +8 at Heat. The Lakers are nearly +10 at the Bucks, and that over keeps creeping up. Wow, 5 points higher to 220. Cavs +9 at Nets, who are on a back-to-back. Magic +11 at the Knicks. The Thunder are -3.5 against the Rockets in the Tank Bowl. The Kings +2.5 at Wolves. Bulls +1.5 at Blazers. We have an episode up about that one. And finally, the Mavs without Luka +8.5 at Phoenix. So looking at these Celtics, who have really had a tale of two seasons thus far. There's the before Marcus Smart comments and the after. And there were also some comments behind closed doors in a players only meeting. But the results we're seeing on the court is an absolutely elite defensive team that's gone under in 6 of 7 games since those comments, the sole exception being the Bucks. And that was a home game. The Celtics have now gone under in 5 straight on the road. They have a 95 defensive rating over their last 6 road games. They're just locking up and down the floor. Their one weakness is still giving up too many free throws. But Atlanta's struggling to get to the line. Trae Young in particular is struggling, not getting those calls under the new points of emphasis. Atlanta's now 20th in free throw rate. And the Hawks defense, you might think initially, the last 3 meetings between these games have gone over. They've gone way over. Atlanta scores a lot. They don't defend a lot. That's not the case at home. At home, they're 5-1 versus 1-8 on the road this year. Defensive rating drops from 116 to 107. Points allowed drops from 114 to 104. And they're scoring a lot more, but I don't think they're going to be scoring a lot against the Celtics team. So, I'm thinking under, first and foremost, if it stays at 215.5. And I'm thinking the Celtics will cover. I still don't have the greatest beat on this team, although they are my charge. I would consider, because they could maybe struggle to close down the stretch still without Jaylen Brown, that we could tease it up to +8 and tease the under higher to almost 220 and feel really confident about a close game that ends around 100 points for each team. And then that parlay, that teaser hits. And I think that's a likely scenario.
Yeah, we're fighting a couple of different trends here in this one. The Hawks are much better at home, and that's been the case for a while now. In their last 35 games, dating back to last year, at home, 26-9 against the spread. Pretty good, but then competing against that for them is right now how the skid that they're on, especially against the spread. In their last 12, they've only covered 3 times. So they are coming back home. This is a team that last year was very, very streaky and appears to be so this year, because I don't think they're going to continue losing at the clip that they have. And so there's probably a nice win streak in here for them. It's whether or not you want to get ahead of that. The other conflicting info, and I was going to mention DeAndre Hunter being out, as you also mentioned, which is pretty big. big, but at this point they've gotten pretty used to playing without him, to be honest. So I still think that they could be the Hawks team of last year without him. But the other trend for that's working against really just taking the Hawks and just blatantly thinking, oh, at home, the Hawks are what they are at home, much better on offense and defense, as you mentioned, and covering the spread at a greater clip in a pretty large sample size over the last year or so. It's still something for the Celtics are still a team right now on the rise as well, as you mentioned, in terms of after their players only meeting, the defense really getting ramped up in a good way. It's that offense that also scares you enough to maybe feel comfortable taking them to win this game. But definitely feel more comfortable about the under. To your point, I'm a fan of that tease that you mentioned more than anything at this point, especially because of what's gone on with Boston's unders recently. They are 7-0, by the way, in their last 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 are the C's. And then you look at the under in as well in that time span in the last 7, that's hit 5 times for them because they are now winning on their defense. And to be honest, they haven't figured it out on offense between their 3 scorers and Schrader and then obviously Tatum and Brown. It's still just a your turn, my turn kind of scenario in a way that at least they're now bringing it on defense, but I don't necessarily know what I'm getting on offense. And that's why I would continue eyeing an under before anything else in this one.
Only the Bucks and the Mavericks have gone over 100 points against the Celtics in that span, which is just unheard of in today's NBA. I mean, but when you play with that kind of slow pace, when you don't necessarily score a lot on the other end, you have to do that on defense. And I think that they're not going to miss Jalen as much in this matchup on the defensive side of the floor because the wings are also banged up for the Hawks. We don't know if Bogdanovich or Kevin Huerter are going to play. It's really about stopping Trae Young. It's about stopping that lob game to Capella, which every team seemingly has been able to stop so far this year. And if Rob Williams is a go, then they have a great matchup there. The one area that Atlanta's really struggling at home is still 3-point defense, but Boston only shoots 32% from deep. And again, no Jaylen Brown. That's not going to help. They're 26th in offensive rating on the road. If they want to be in this game, it's going to have to come from their defensive effort. And so far they've been giving it. It is a new era under Ime Udoka, and it is a new type of Celtics team that I think you can feel very confident in their defense, keeping this below expectations. I love targeting these type of trends. I put in the article that the Lakers and Bucks game seems like it will go over despite something like eight of their last 10 meetings having gone under, despite the Bucks going under in 7 straight home games. It's because, you just have to look at when that trend is going to start to flip. And the Celtics and Hawks, they have played around the 120s their last 3 meetings, but this is a new season that the trends are flipping. And I think now we're going to get under.
Yeah, that's fair. And we don't have a video up today about the Heat, but I just wanted to mention a little teaser because I do like this game to be closer than a double digit spread for sure. If you've got the C's right now up at about plus 3.5, plus 4, so if you tease them up a bit, I would tease down the Heat, who are only 8-point, maybe 7.5-point favorites against the Pelicans, who we love to pick on. And so I think you get the Heat at home against the Pellies down to about 3.5, 4 points. You get the C's up to about 7.5, 8 points. And that's going to be a tease that I put some on tonight and get even money on FanDuel by doing so. So feeling pretty good about that one. It's going to be a pretty interesting game. We'll see which Hawks show up tonight, which C's show up tonight, and bank on there not being that many points and being a little bit scrappy. And that is all the time that we have for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Got a couple other videos, including those player props up for you on a pretty nice NBA Wednesday night slate. And until we see you next, happy betting.